Hi, this is Joan Pastor. Thanks for taking the time to watch a few samples of my programs. They show over 20 years of experience as a keynote speaker, trainer, and facilitator. I'm going to tell you a true story. What I'd like you to do is I'm going to read it out loud. Please read along with me. When you've finished, I want you to write down on a piece of paper somewhere what you think the answer to the question is. Do not shout it out. Then we'll take it from there. A woman, while at the funeral of her own mother, met this guy who she did not know. She thought this man was amazing. She believed him to be her dream, and she fell in love with him right there, but did not ask for his number, and no matter how hard she tried, she could not find him. A few days later, she killed her sister. So the question is, what is the motive in killing her sister? So just take a moment, think about it, write a word or two down. What was the motive in killing her sister? Now, just grab somebody, turn to the person next to you, tell them what you think. Let's just take a moment here. So just grab somebody at your table. What was the motive in killing her sister? How many people here, and this is why I have you share it with a partner, because I know who's telling the truth and who's not. How many people here actually came to that conclusion? They figured that out. Raise your hands. Raise them high. You can see it's not that many people. Keep your hands up. Keep your hands up. Everybody else in the room, I want you to take a look at these people. They all have the minds of a psychopath. Actually, I'm not going to go own up to that. That would be a very strong statement. And in a couple minutes, you're going to find out what is a psychopath anyway. But actually, these are people who have... There is a high correlation between introversion and sensitivity to stimuli, including taste, sound, smells, sight, and everything. What they have found is they have taken people who test introverted or extroverted. That's not that difficult for us to find out, okay? And then what they've done is they will take a drop of lemon juice, put it on their tongue, and then they measure how much saliva you produce in your mouth. And this is really amazing, because in the experiment, which has been replicated several times, they actually will then have people spit into cotton balls, and then they put them on scales, and they weigh them. Are you ready for this? Do you know that an introvert's saliva, after a drop of lemon juice, weighs 50% more than a person who's extroverted? 50% more. In other words, introverted people actually produce 50% more saliva. Now, what is that all about? And by the way, ew, right? Ew. But what is that all about? What it is that... Let me start with the bad news. The bad news is you're never, ever going to completely get rid of conflict. So the place to begin with is to understand that the goal of this workshop, the goal of your job, in fact, the goal when somebody blows up at you is not to get rid of the conflict. The more you try to stop it, anybody here ever try to stop, right, when people are really upset, try to stop them? Notice what happens? It tends to get worse, okay? So here's something that, if you get this, by the way, this will make the whole day in the course. Everybody, I would suggest you write this down. And this is also in the good news. The good news is there's no such thing. There is no such thing as a bad emotion. I want you forever to change your thinking about emotions. No such thing as a bad emotion. Anger in itself is not bad. Fear in itself is not bad. Frustration in itself is not bad. It's what you do with the emotion that makes the difference. It's what you do with it in yourself, which is what Gigi was asking about, right? And it's also what you do with others to help them. So the bad news is you can't get rid of conflict. And you also shouldn't try to get rid of conflict. The goal instead is to learn how to either prevent it, if you can, or manage it. Now, when we start approaching it from that perspective, that actually begins to give a whole different way of looking at this. You see, because, you know, if you feel like you can't control it, and you can't, you know, stop them, and you can't calm down. Now, you will learn things to calm people down. You will, definitely. But this is all part of managing people's emotions, managing your own emotions. And learning for it to be okay for somebody to be upset. It's okay if somebody is upset. It's okay if somebody disagrees with you. It's okay. Now, it's not okay if they throw things at you, but it is okay for people to react. And that's the place that you want to start coming from. Because once you start doing that, your life is going to get a lot better, period.
I have two classes with Dr. Pastor. It is a negotiation class as well as a facilitation class. And what's fascinating is that Dr. Pastor, she has provided very useful tools for me as an interpreter. So let's talk about the facilitation class. And I learned a lot about how to organize my job and my task through using the fishbone analysis. It gave me a very clear picture of what I need to do. I can prioritize what I need to focus on and eliminate things that I probably don't need to look at the moment. So it helped me to organize things. It helped me to analyze risks. That's most important to my job and my client and my team. And the next thing I want to talk about is the negotiation class that I have today. She used a very good approach, which is using her expert knowledge in psychology, and then she can interpret very subtle feelings, subtle communications between human beings. And I think this is a very useful tool, so because it's very tactical and it's not something that I can pick up from other people that I've been working with. I think it's really, really great experience. I'm so happy that I'm here today. Thank you.
I think the skills that I'm learning from today's course, I can not only apply to my everyday work life, but also my personal life. So that's really important too, because often when you're taking classes specifically for your work life, you forget that it can relate to your personal life.
I had a 360 review with my CEO last year, and a couple of the things that came up as opportunities for me to expand my career is to focus on communication and presentations. And this was a perfect opportunity to work on those skill sets. And Joan couldn't have been a better leader, and with the other people in the class, it set up a good practice case. And actually I'm using some of the skills I learned yesterday at a meeting tomorrow morning. Long term, I think it makes me more aware of how important it is in communicating, not just with the rest of the team, but with senior management and people outside the company and inside the company at whatever levels I run into.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. And any thought about if you were talking to a friend about taking this course, what would you say to him?
I'd highly recommend the course. She has a lot of enthusiasm. Joan brings a lot of good examples. And I think the people that is drawn to this class helps as well. So it was just a good overall experience. And I'd recommend it highly to anybody looking to improve their communication and presentation skills.
Hi, it's Joan again. Thanks again for your time. We can't wait to get started working with you. Take care now.